Good day to you. This is Jersey Boy, your local Dellorto and Weber carburetor man. I've decided just to make a small video clip on how the Dellorto carburetor functions on the inside. I've tried to do this several times, but just cannot do it in under 15 minutes. So I'm timing myself as we speak. I've got to do this in at least about 10 to 15 minutes. I've already stripped the carburetor just to save some time. What we're looking at is a 40H DHLA 40H. As I said in my previous video, this is how you identify the different versions. The air screw recedes in the tube, and basically I'm going to start this side. In front, these are your two butterflies. As accelerator opens, your air flows through from this side. The air flows through from this side. Air goes this way, and your Venturis, as the air flows through your Venturi, it creates a vacuum effect and draws your fuel mixture through your emulsion tube, which sits inside here, into the carburetor. The part behind the Venturi is your choke tube. This particular one has been reamed. They normally come out standard on the 40s, size 32. This one looks like it's been reamed to about 36. Normally they taper them from 36 to about 38. This one has got a straight through 36. Okay, so that's part of your tuning A choke tubes. I'll do that in another video, just to explain the inner workings of this carburetor. Okay, what are we looking at here? I've already taken out the jets, so I'm gonna put them back and explain where I'm putting them back and what they are used for. This long jet here is basically a fuel jet, which clips in at the bottom. Emulsion tube and air for particularly choke operation. So this goes into the center, and that forms part of your choke setup for cold start. Next door to the your choke jets, you can basically split the carburetor straight through in the middle using that jet. And then what we're looking at, if I do the split like this, we are looking at what goes in here is the pump jet goes in here. That's your spray jet that sprays the fuel out forward into your cylinder. But there's a one-way valve which works in conjunction with the diaphragm. It's like a one-way valve that will force the fuel from there into your pump jet. So that is for this particular channel, and this one, and that is your pump jet for that channel. One-way valve for that channel. The big hole is for your main circuit, which is your emulsion mains and airs, and the smaller one will be for your idle to progression to main stage jetting. Okay, so just to show you that there is the split, and I'm going to be assembling it the way it's supposed to be assembled. Little ball, the one side for your one-way valve on that side. Bar spot with a spring goes in onto the ball for both ends, and that is your pump jet area complete. That normally does not get filled with much. You basically open it up, make sure that it's clean, there's no debris that is blocking it from going through that way. Okay, this is your main jet. That's your air. This particular air, it's got the number on here. This is a 160 air. And right at the bottom, this is your main jet. This particular main jet is also 160. And this emulsion tube, I must be honest, is the first time that I see this particular emulsion tube. It is a 777 2.14. Now I've seen 777 2.5, 777 2.7, 777 2.8, 2.10, 11, 12, but never a 14. The 14 looks similar to the 5, but what I did notice is the position of the holes. This 14 has got much bigger holes in the emulsion tube on the top part of the emulsion tube and smaller holes at the bottom. So basically, main jet, air jet fuels get sucked like that into the Venturis. So that goes in there. That one goes in there. This is idling jets. Standard size idling jets are normally 50, 55, 60. This is a size 50. Generally they're about 50, 55. That should do it for any camshaft or any type of modification. They generally work that well for idling. So that's your idle jet circuit, goes into there, and that goes into there. Okay, so just assembling. Just try to keep the jetting looking uniform. Okay, and then pump jets. These ones got a tiny little hole there in the front. That hole slotted side, so it can only go to the front. The hole faces the cylinder head side, and you pop it in. Can only go in one way. Alright, same with this one. We'll check that they're not blocked. They are tiny holes, so it's always good to check them that they're not blocked. These ones are rather small. And then your covers. Okay, so that forms part of your pump circuit. That is now your pump circuit complete. Fuel gets sucked from your fuel chamber, which is here. From the bottom, it's sucked into your diaphragm section here. When you accelerate, this here, when you accelerate, this lever will pump your diaphragm, which will then force the fuel through the one-way valve to the pump jets straight out into the cylinder head. I've taken off these tops to show you. This is your air correction jets for the Sidedraft. So you've got 2 on each carb. Another carb, another 2. That, if you see this tube here, I've taken the top off. There's little holes in there. Now that holes, if you look inside the tube, I'm going to try and bring it closer. If you can see, there are holes on this part. There are holes. Okay, so as your butterfly closes for idling, that's where you adjust the amount of air for it to idle. And what runs into that tube is basically your idle fuel mixture from the idling jets will run into that circuit right into there, and in conjunction with tuning your air here will allow for idle. Okay, so I'm just going to put the tops on to complete it. I think we've got about 5 minutes left. So that is dissecting it. Idles, mains, main emulsion, main air emulsion and fuel jet all in one tube. Pump jets, these are one ways. This is only for your choke air fuel mixture. Basically this is your vacuum advance. This one is normally blocked off on side drafts. These nuts are locking nuts to hold your Venturi in place if you want to remove your Venturi to change the chokes. And basically this is a balancer screw. Carburetor top. Now one thing I'd like you guys to see, this is a particularly rare set. If you look at the tops of this carburetor, this particular top is used in a Lotus Esprit Turbo. This is when you turbocharge the Dellorto, this is the type of top. Either you make it up yourself, this is the original one. So obviously a boost pipe goes on top of there to pressurize the carb. So this is quite rare, this particular part. Generally you can, this won't present any problem using it normally aspirated. Float level settings, generally level. That's basically it. This one drops down a bit low for my liking, so I'll do a bit of adjustment. This is not good. This particular case, what I do, let it go right down, and float levels is way too low, so it's not a brain surgeon's job to set up floats. Generally have to make sure that you don't overflow your bowl. This one also. Generally push him down to close the needle and seat, and make sure there's enough fuel in the bowl. So if you're looking at your float levels, that's what you should see. Floats level. Okay, this is your chokes. I haven't seen anybody really using them, and I really don't think they work that well either, so I generally don't bother with them. This is your complete float choke setup. Okay, and that concludes a quick explanation of the Dellorto Sidedraft. Hope you enjoyed it.